Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. In today's video, we'll do another installment looking at 7-month availability for Disney Vacation Club. In doing so, we'll definitely also get a sneak peek at 6 months and 8-month availability for the resorts. For resorts that seem particularly open and bookable, we'll also look more in the near future, so 5 months, 4 months, things like that. In resorts that are especially booked, we will look further out into home resort availability to see if you really do need that 11-month advantage. If you're new to the channel, a big focus of the content I try to create is explaining DVC and making it easier for you. These types of behind-the-scenes look-ins are things that I really wish I had before I bought in as a member. This particular video is a continuation of a series where we look at 7-month availability. This is when all Disney Vacation Club owners can go ahead and book. You don't need home resort priority for that. Previously, we have covered September of 2022, December of 2022, March of 2023, and May of 2023. I am recording this on Sunday, January 8th, 2023. That means the 7-month window starts on August 8th, 2023. Given that early to mid-August marks the start of the end of summertime, a lot of folks are getting in their last summer vacations. Lately, I've only been covering the Walt Disney World Disney Vacation Club resorts in these videos, but we will expand this to include those beach locations as well, since summer is a very popular beach time. Do note though, as per usual, there are some disclaimers. I bought Disney Vacation Club through the resale market, meaning I cannot use my points to book Riviera Resort. That also means I can't even see Riviera Resort when I go to book. So what you'll see in this video does not include Riviera Resort. A good friend of the channel, Peter, will often leave a comment down below with Riviera Resort availability. Thanks so much, Peter. If you happen to see that comment and find that information useful, please be sure to leave a like on Peter's comment and thank him too. I'm so appreciative of the generous community around this channel. If you want to be part of that and support this work, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive updates whenever I upload new videos. And for additional usual disclaimers, just remember that this really is only one slice in time. It's not necessarily entirely representative of what 7-month booking will be like. Disney Vacation Club availability simply changes with owner booking patterns. If folks are adjusting their vacations, that means availability can pop up. This can change day to day, hour to hour. Additionally, I'm not recording this right when the 7-month mark availability opens up to be able to book. That's 8 a.m. Eastern time or 8 a.m. Walt Disney World time. And like I said, availability changes, sometimes hour to hour, so it may have looked a little bit different this morning. At the Walt Disney World Disney Vacation Club resorts, the booking window we're looking at will fall within the 4th most expensive travel period. For the 2023 points charts, this starts in mid-June and goes through the end of August, so all of August is contained in that travel period. The point charts outside the Walt Disney World resorts are a little bit different though. Over at the villas at the Grand Californian, this will be in the 3rd most expensive travel period. That's out of 4 total. This travel period covers basically all of summer. At Aulani, the beginning part of August, basically the first half is covered in the most expensive travel period, so our start date, August 8th, will be in that most expensive travel time at Aulani. At Vero Beach, essentially all of summer, June through August, is captured in the 3rd most expensive travel period. This is in the middle. There are 5 travel periods total. And finally, at Hilton Head, mid-June through late August is in the most expensive travel period there. Specifically, I'm going to make a request that we start our check-in on Tuesday, August 8th, and then check out on Sunday, August 13th. This is not quite a full week's day. And we will look at all room types in all resorts. To keep this video as short as possible, we are going to move through things pretty quickly. If you don't enjoy this frenetic pace, you can go ahead and slow things down on your end. Utilize the YouTube settings to decrease the playback speed to 0.75x, for example. Additionally, there will be timestamps in the descriptions below. If you're only interested in some resorts, please feel free to skip around. I do mark the chapters as accurately as possible. Last time we did this was May of 2023 availability, and it was much better than I was expecting, so maybe summer will surprise me too. My home resort is Bay Lake Tower, so that is always populated first. That's what we'll begin with. Disney Vacation Club is pretty good about providing this bright red text to let you know if there's anything going on you might want to be aware of. Here we have some Run Disney warnings for January and February, and then also some 2023 refurbishments for Bay Lake Tower that will be January through early April. Nothing that should affect our time in August at this point. For those unfamiliar, the way the interface works is it shows you rooms with full availability first, and then any rooms that don't have full availability are down here and you have to click View Other Rooms. Let's start with those that are available, beginning with the Lakeview Deluxe Studio. Here we can see this Lakeview Deluxe Studio actually has really great availability 6 months onward. That would be July 8th onward, and even most of June is available. Okay availability in May and April for being that close out, I'm not complaining. Just one night in March, nothing in February. Here's the Theme Park View Deluxe Studio. Again, fairly available 6 months out, although June and May are a very different story. There's a lot of Lakeview inventory, especially compared to Theme Park View. Moving up in size to the 1-bedroom villa, we have the Standard View category. Again, 6 months out is pretty good. There's a couple days taken, but not much. June's pretty bare though. Okay availability in April and May. Not much before that. Here we've got the Lakeview 1-bedroom villa. All of July is available, almost all of June is available, most of May, the back half of April. This is a pretty available room. Here we have the theme park view 1-bedroom villa now. Again, 6 months out other than a couple days, looks pretty good. The back half of June is not bad. There are some nights in May, April, and March, but not a ton. Moving up in size to the 2 bedrooms, we'll start with the Lakeview Lock-Off. Other than these couple nights around July 4th, July and early August are looking good, even the back half of June and all of the June weekends. The latter half of May is okay, same with the latter half of April. Here is the Lakeview dedicated 2-bedroom villa, totally available in July. June and May have some times, but not nearly as much. April looks pretty okay though. This is the Lock-Off 2-bedroom villa with a theme park view. Definitely not quite as available as the other view categories. Here we have the dedicated 2-bedroom villa with a theme park view. July here is looking pretty good, and there's some stretches of time in June, May, and April. We've got the Lakeview 3-bedroom grand villa. 7 months out is perfectly fine. 6 months is okay, there's definitely some times taken, but you could get this full week, July 16th through 22nd. In June and May, you definitely have some nights together, and in April, you've got this last week that's pretty available. But yeah, grand villas tend to be a little harder to book for longer stretches of time. And we've got the theme park view grand villa now. 6 months out is pretty great. Not so much in June or May, but April is quite available still. And for room types not available, you notice I don't think there were any standard views. And yep, these are probably the home resort owners that want to stay at Bay Lake Tower but also want to save some points. So the Standard View Deluxe Studio is not available exactly 7 months from now on August 8th, also the following day on the 9th. So we are a couple days into home resort owner priority here for these times highlighted. But you could stay August 4th through 7th. There's definitely some times available in July. June and May aren't so good, so if you want that Standard View Deluxe Studio, you want to be on top of your 7-month booking. Here we've got the 2-bedroom lock-off with the Standard View. I'm expecting this to be somewhat similar to the Deluxe Standard View, given that it's a lock-off. And yeah, there's some times in July. You definitely can go and stay in this room, but June and May are 100% booked. You just want to be on top of this one. And finally, for Bay Lake Tower, we have the Standard View 2-bedroom villa. This is the dedicated, not the lock-off. It is available exactly 7 months from now, just not 7 months and a couple days on August 10th. You could say the 5th through the 9th. That would be a nice vacation. July is fairly booked though, and June and May are quite booked. Even this latter half of April that we saw was fairly available for some rooms is pretty booked. This is a harder room to snag. And let's leave Florida and go over to Hawaii. We will take a look at Aulani availability. Starting with the Islands Gardens View Deluxe Studio. 7 months is totally fine, and at 6 months you can stay, but it would be a little patchy depending on your days. But June is almost totally booked. May, again, there are some days, but you'd have to be flexible. Changing views to the Poolside Gardens View Deluxe Studio. Here now you're starting to see way less availability if you're not booking almost 7 months out. In that Ocean View Deluxe Studio, 6.5 months out or so is not bad once you're at July 20th and beyond. June, May, and April do have days, they're just a bit sporadic. Moving up in size to 1-bedrooms, we will start with the Island Garden View. So again, 6.5 months out or so, you're looking pretty good, smooth sailing. June is pretty booked though. Interestingly, May is very available, and the back half of April is also pretty available. On to the Poolside Gardens View 1-bedroom villa. Here's 6 months out, so July 8th onward, you're 100% available. But again, June is very popular, so not much there. May's pretty open, the back half of April is pretty open. And the Ocean View 1-bedroom villa, 6 months onward, you are good to go, but June is almost fully booked. Most of May is available, a good portion of April is available. Next, we're doing 2 bedrooms. We will start with the Lock-Off Islands Garden View. Right at 7 months, you're fine, but before that starts to get patchy. June seems to be a very popular time to go to Aulani. That is booked. And there's some nights you can string together here in May, but not much beyond that. This is the dedicated 2-bedroom with the Islands Garden View. 7 months out, and right before that, you're pretty okay. You know, starting in late July. All of June is already booked, but almost all of May is available. And again, the back half of April looks good. Back to the lock-off 2-bedroom, this now is the poolside gardens view. 7 months out, and a little bit before that, this early part of August and very late part of July, you're doing okay. But it seems like if you want to go in June, you definitely need to be super on top of that 7 months out. And here, even May and April are far less available than other rooms. Now we've got the lock-off 2-bedroom villa with the ocean view. 6.5 months or so, you're looking pretty okay. That June, early July timeframe seems pretty hard to snag a room if you're not planning at least 6.5 months in advance, I would guess, if not more. And there's some days in May and April, but nothing super noteworthy. Now we've got the ocean view dedicated 2-bedroom villa. 6.5 months out, this looks great. But again, that early part of July and pretty much all of June is taken. We're back here to early May and late April being quite available though. And even, wow, early March is available. That's 2 months from now. And last for rooms with full availability is the Ocean View 3-bedroom Grand Villa. From July 16th onward, it is fully available. But June is almost fully booked. May and April both have great availability though, and even March looks to be about half available. Moving on to rooms that did not have full availability for our requested dates. Starting with the Standard View Deluxe Studio, you could stay almost the full time we requested. It would just be that last night of Saturday, August 12th that is fully taken. But you can see that this room seems quite popular compared to the ones we were just looking at. There really isn't hardly any availability before 7 months. Now we have the Standard View dedicated 2-bedroom villa. Right 7 months from now on August 8th is taken, so this highlighted portion is into homeowner resort priority. If you were logged on and ready to book this room when availability became open this morning, then this may have been different. You may have been able to snag this night, I'm not sure. But basically the week prior to this is taken, and a lot of July is taken, all of June is taken. There's okay availability in May. It seems like if you want the Standard View 2-bedroom villa, you want to be really on top of this. Next is the 1-bedroom villa with the Standard View. This is pretty taken, so again, 7 months from today is August 8th, so you already have the 9th and 10th fully booked before you start to get availability. This is into the home resort owner priority window. There's okay availability in July. You could definitely stay 3 or 4 nights if you were flexible with your timing. And there's sporadic availability in May and April. Next, we have the dedicated 2-bedroom with the poolside gardens view. It is available exactly 7 months from now on August 8th. It's just not available on August 10th. But if you're able to adjust your travel plans a bit, you could stay anywhere between July 24th and that August 9th timeframe uninterrupted. The first half of July is booked as well as all of June, but there is okay availability in May and April and sporadic dates in February and March. Here we have the hotel room with the Standard View. This is a very popular room, tends to be hard to book. If you want to stay in this room and you're going year after year, you probably want home resort priority for this. As you can see, there is really no availability. Let's go ahead and look into home resort owner priority. So even a bunch of September and October are already taken. This time around Thanksgiving, it's a competitive room. Here is the 2-bedroom lock-off with the Standard View. Wow, that is quite booked. Dang. All right, let's look at home resort owner for this as well. So September and October are fairly available, but there are already dates that are fully booked. And again, around American Thanksgiving is booked out in November. And finally, the 3-bedroom Grand Villa with a Standard View, 100% booked. August, July, June, May, April. Already September is 100% booked. October, November, December. Literally every day you could book is already 100% booked. If you don't have a home resort Aulani contract, your chances of getting this room seem to be slim to none. Popping back over to Walt Disney World, we'll take a look at the villas at the Grand Floridian next. Again, you've got the Run Disney warning text, and starting March of 2022, there will be some refurbishments. We're looking at August of 2023, so I would hope that would be done by then. And scrolling through, you can see that literally all of the room types are fully available for the dates that we requested. So we'll be focusing on the timeframes in the near future, 5 months, 6 months, things like that for this look-in. All right, so even though 7 months is totally available here for the Deluxe Studio Standard View, before that is kind of patchy, so you probably would want to be right on this. I wouldn't delay at least much past 7 months. Next is the Resort Studio with the Standard View. The Resort Studios and the Deluxe Studios are substantially different. The points charts is the same, but the rooms themselves are different. This has much better availability than the Deluxe Studio. 6.5 months out, you can probably book this room. Back to the Deluxe Studio, here is the Lake View. This is way more available than the Standard View Deluxe Studio. 6 months from now would be July 8th, so much before that is not super available, but if you can make plans 6 months in advance, maybe not 7 months in advance, perhaps target the Lakeview. And here we've got the Lagoon View Resort Studio, and this again is even more available than the Deluxe Studio with the Lakeview. Next we have the Theme Park View Resort Studio. There is no Deluxe Studio with the Theme Park View. And really, other than July 4th, this is quite available from 5 months onward. And there's even availability in May and late April. On to the 1-bedrooms, we'll start with the standard view. 6 months onward, it's 100% available. June is about half available, though every Wednesday night is taken. May is pretty booked though, but you do have the latter half of April that looks good. And here's the Lakeview 1-bedroom villa. Again, booked for America's Independence Day, July 4th. That's not a surprise. But June's not bad, and May is certainly more available than the standard view, though the back half of April is more taken here than it was for the standard view. On to 2-bedrooms, we'll start with the standard view lock-off. This is definitely patchier once you hit that 6-month mark. If you want this room, you probably do want to be right on top of that 7-month booking window, but it does seem possible. And for the dedicated 2-bedroom standard view, this is very available 6 months onward. Once you're at that 5-month mark, starts to get patchier, but hey, there's still 4 nights in a row here in late June. And again, this last full week of April is quite available. This is the lock-off 2-bedroom villa with the Lakeview. For the most part, 6 months onward, you're totally fine. There's this 1 night that's fully taken. But once you hit 5 months, it's kind of a different story. And for that dedicated 2-bedroom villa with the Lakeview, again, you're seeing 6 months onwards. Pretty great. 1 night that's fully taken, but otherwise not bad at all. You've got weekend nights really in June, as well as a few other sporadic nights, but you'll probably want to be on this at least 6 months in advance. And finally, for the Grand Floridian, we've got the 3-bedroom Grand Villa with the Lakeview. Available 7 months in advance, and you can stay a few nights in July, just a handful of nights in June or earlier. Alright, next we have Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort. Again, you've got some refurbishment text here. This would be January through March. We're looking at August, so not a problem. Saratoga Springs Resort has quite a large amount of inventory, so I'm expecting it will be available. And yep, you can see there's no button here that says view other rooms with partial availability, so all of these again are fully available for our requested dates. Starting with the standard deluxe studio, you can see it is 100% available July, June, not quite 100% in May, but close. Just a few days taken in April, and even the back half of March looks fine. The preferred room deluxe studio is also 100% available in July and June, most of May, most of April, some dates left still in the back half of March. Moving up in size to the 1-bedrooms, we'll start with the standard room. You can book any day you want in May, June, or July, almost any day in April, and even most of March, so we're talking 2 months from now. Availability is pretty great. And for the 1-bedroom villa, that's a preferred room. Again, you're seeing really good availability all of July, June, May, April, most of March, and even some nights still in February. For that 2-bedroom lock-off villa, that's a standard room. Again, totally available in July and June, almost fully available in May and April, and still good availability in March. And then we've got the dedicated 2-bedroom villa, that's a standard room. 100% available July, June, May, April, and still very good availability in March and decent availability in February. Back to the lock-off 2-bedroom, this is for the preferred room. Totally available in July and June. All but 3 nights is available in May and all but 2 nights in April. And that last 2 weeks of March, you could still stay for 4 or 5 nights together. For that dedicated 2-bedroom villa preferred room, all of July, June, May, and April are available, a vast majority of March, and there's still some nights in January and February. Next up, we've got the specialty room Treehouse Villas. So this is only at Saratoga Springs Resort. You can see those are fully available July, June, May, and April. Most of March is available. And again, there are a few nights in February and just a couple nights left in January. On to those 3-bedroom grand villas, starting with the standard. They're fully available 6 months onward, and even really 5.5 months onward or so, starting June 22nd, you're in the clear. Most of June is still available. There are a few nights though that are fully booked. A vast majority of May is available. I'm guessing that this Monday is Memorial Day in America, so that's a holiday a lot of people have off, which explains why this chunk of May has been fairly booked in most of the rooms we've been looking at. Even April and March are way more than half available still, with a few dates left in February even. And that 3-bedroom Grand Villa Preferred room, again fully available 7 months out, as well as 6 months out. All of July is bookable. Most of June you can book, as well as most of May and April. A little less availability in March, but you still have this stretch that's probably about a week and a half, and several other blocks of nights in a row that are more than 3 nights. Moving resorts now, we'll go to Disney's Animal Kingdom Villas, the Kidani Village side. Jambo House is listed separately, we'll get to that later. Kidani Village also has quite a lot of inventory, so I'm expecting to see good availability here, and yep, every room type is totally available 7 months in advance. Beginning with the Standard View Deluxe Studio, you can see that it is fully available for when we requested, of course, but also all of July, and most of June even. May is patchier, but April looks okay. For that Savannah View Deluxe Studio, similarly, we are seeing all of July as available and a vast majority of June. A lot of May is available, although no Sunday nights. And the back half of April also looks pretty good. Moving up in size to those 1-bedroom villas, we'll start with the Standard View. All of July is available and all but 1 night in June and 2 nights in May. Most of April's available, and even this last part of March you have several nights that you could string together. For the Savannah View 1-bedroom villa, it's a pretty similar story. All of July is available, all of June's available, most of May, the back half of April looks good. On to 2 bedrooms, starting with the Standard View Lock-Off. You have full availability in July and pretty great availability in June, though once you hit May, it starts to get a little bit worse. The back half of April is better than May in general, but before that, really nothing. For the dedicated 2-bedroom with the Standard View, finally, all of July is not available. There are a few nights taken here, but it's mostly available. Same with June. You've got this chunk between the 4th and the 8th that's taken, but from June 9th onward, you are good to go. Most of May is available, and the back half of April is very bookable. For the Savannah View 2-bedroom, starting with the Lock-Off, you can see again July is totally available, and June is mostly available. May and April are probably about half available, but you might have to be a little bit flexible. Then the dedicated 2-bedroom with the Savannah View. July again, you're totally good to go. Most of June, a good chunk of May, and the back half of April. Because the inventory here is so large, generally speaking, it's just not that hard to book. And finally at Kidani, we've got those 3-bedroom Grand Villas. For the Standard View, you can see this would be pretty easy to book in July, as long as you didn't want to stay this one Friday, the 14th, but much before that, availability is not as good. Although the back half of April, again, remains totally open. And there's even this full week and change in late March. And for that Savannah View Grand Villa, all of July is open, starts to get worse after that, with the exception of, again, that back half of April. Moving on, we've got Disney's Old Key West Resort. Similarly, this is a resort with a lot of inventory, so I'm expecting to see good availability, although this time there are some rooms that are partial stays and waitlist only. Let's start with that Standard Deluxe Studio. You can see full availability in July and great availability in June. May is probably about half available, though you might need to be flexible depending on when you wanted to travel. April is still almost 100% available, and there's even okay availability left in March still. For a deluxe studio near the Hospitality House, it's not quite as available as a general deluxe studio that's not near the Hospitality House, but honestly there still is pretty good availability here. If you definitely want to stay near the Hospitality House though, I would always suggest that you try to book that as soon as you can. For that 1-bedroom villa, this is the standard one, not necessarily near the Hospitality House. You can see all of July, all of June, and all of May are available to book, almost all of April, and then probably about half of March still. If you did want to be in a 1-bedroom villa near the Hospitality House, that also has pretty great availability right now. All of July, almost all of June, most of May, a good chunk of April. If you have more guests and need a 2-bedroom villa, let's start with the dedicated near the Hospitality House. You could book this anytime you want in July, and most of June, May, and April are available. It would depend on your dates though. For the 2-bedroom Lock-Off villa not near the Hospitality House, you have perfect availability July onward, and most of June is available. Things start to get a little patchier in May, probably about half the month is available, but it would depend on when you want to travel. Almost all of April is still available though, other than these 2 dates, and then there's some times in March, but not a ton. And obviously availability starts to get much less in January and February. For the 2-bedroom villa that's not a lock-off and not near the hospitality house, you have, again, great availability July through that 7-month period. All of June, all of May, all of April, almost all of March are available to book. Now we have the lock-off 2-bedroom that is near the hospitality house. You can see this is a bit patchier though. Overall, still really good availability 6 months out, starting July 8th. And you definitely could still book a room here in June, May, or April, but it wouldn't be a full week stay per se. Finally, we've got the 3-bedroom grand villa. This is available to book right at the 7-month mark, and there is good availability in July, but again, it would depend on when you'd want to travel. April and May are probably about half available still, and notably a little more available than June even. Now for those rooms with only partial stay and waitlist availability, we've just got the 3-bedroom grand villa that's near the hospitality house. So that is waitlist only for our entire stay. So this was probably booked up by people with home resort owner priority, especially when you look at September, very booked, and that's definitely home resort owners only. I will say that this is an incredibly economically priced 3-bedroom grand villa. It's 46 points a night on weeknights in September is probably why this is so booked. If we go more into the future though, you can see even a lot of October, most of November, and this early part of December is booked. So if you do want that 3-bedroom grand villa near the hospitality house, you probably want an old Key West home contract. Back over to Disney's Animal Kingdom villas, but this time we're on the Jambo House side. Jambo does have significantly less inventory than Kidani, so I am expecting to see availability be not quite as strong in the shorter term. Beginning with the Standard View Deluxe Studio, we're good to go 6.5 months out or so, but you can start to see less and less availability in the nearer term. And that Savannah View Deluxe Studio is actually quite available. From 6 months onward, you have 100% availability. There's stretches of 3 nights here in June, and there's a few nights in April and May, but the Savannah View rooms, despite costing more points than the Standard View rooms, are pretty popular. Here we have the Standard View 1-bedroom villa. This is totally available in July and almost fully available in June and May even. Basically from the back half of April onward, you're probably pretty okay to book this room. Moving up in view categories to the Savannah View room for the 1-bedroom villa, again, you've got great availability July onward. A lot of June and May are still open, and even April's not too bad. Next is the 2-bedroom lock-off villa with the Standard View. July's not fully available here, but 6.5 months out or so, the back half of July, you're looking pretty good. And June's probably about half available, but it would depend on your travel dates if you could make this work. Next up is the Savannah View 2-bedroom lock-off villa. July 2nd is booked, but otherwise all of July is available, but June becomes a much different story. Same with May and April. And here we have the Savannah View 3-bedroom grand villa. From July 21st onward, you are good to go, but there are chunks already taken in July. Interestingly, not this time around July 4th, America's Independence Day. And you could have 3 or 4 nights in May or June, but otherwise sporadic single nights. And the back half of April is pretty open, but otherwise, again, just here or there single nights for the most part. Unlike Kidani, Jambo House does have partial stay and waitlist availability only rooms. I'm expecting this is all of the club rooms and all of the value rooms. So yeah, you can see value, club, value, club, value, club. No surprises there. We'll breeze through these pretty fast to save time. Basically, if you want to stay in a value room or a club room, you need a home contract and you need to be able to plan in advance. We've got the 1-bedroom value accommodation. I'm actually surprised to see how much of this is available into home resort owner priority still. Even this time around American Thanksgiving, though it seems like not exactly Thanksgiving night. Early December though, already getting pretty booked out. Here we've got the 1-bedroom club level. These are very popular rooms. Here's the studio value. This tends to be 100% booked out because it's so cheap and yep, not a single day available. And the studio at club level, again, tends to be 100% booked out. Yep, it's such a good deal in terms of the amount of points you're paying compared to the price of the room. And here's the 2-bedroom value. I'm expecting to see nothing. And the 2-bedroom club concierge, there might be something here. Nope, nothing. Again, if you want a club concierge or value room at Animal Kingdom Villas, buy a home contract there. Next, we have the Boardwalk Villas. The Boardwalk is being refurbished and it doesn't have any dates for that, so we're not sure if that will be in effect in August when we're planning this trip. The Skyliner is also being refurbished. That's only a short time in January, so that's nothing to worry about. Boardwalk is a really good points value, so it tends to be a little bit harder to book, but we'll see. Fully available is the deluxe studio with the garden or pool view, and that 6.5 months out you could actually book. But there's not a ton in June, not a ton in May, April. You definitely want to be on top of that one. Here we've got the standard view 1-bedroom villa. Very available, really 6 months onward. From July 6th onward, you could book any day you wanted. Fairly available in June, starts to get worse in May. Here we've got the Boardwalk View 1-bedroom villa. Again, super available, July 5th onward you could book. June isn't bad, there's a few instances of 3 nights together here that you could stay. And May you've got some weekends, April there's a couple days. And for the 1-bedroom villa with that garden or pool view, it is totally available, really May 12th onward. And even most of April is still available, a good portion of March considering that's not that far from now. On to the 2 bedrooms, this is the lock-off with the garden or pool view. This is quite available, really July 14th onward, take your pick. Before that is significantly patchier. And the 3-bedroom grand villa with the boardwalk view was available for the dates we selected. Generally speaking though, that is a room you probably want to be on top of at 7 months. It is fairly booked otherwise. And checking out the rooms with only partial stays, the deluxe studio with the boardwalk view. So this costs the same points as that garden or pool view, but most people find the boardwalk view to be more desirable. I also assume there's less boardwalk view inventory than garden or pool view inventory. So you can see, yeah, this is pretty booked up. And even if we go into home resort owner priority, most of September is taken, all of October is taken, almost all of November. This whole chunk of early December that's available is gone. Let's skip the 2-bedroom for now and do the deluxe studio with the standard view. This is a very economical room to book. It's pretty cheap, especially for its location. It's just super booked. You can always go on the wait list and hope that works out for you. It did work out for me for our September 2021 trip, so you never know. But looking into home resort owner priority, all of September's booked, almost all of October and November, and again, all of this first chunk of December. Back to the 2-bedroom lock-offs, let's start with the boardwalk view. Pretty bad availability. If you want to stay for a night or two, you can. Otherwise, this is waitlist territory for sure. And yeah, even into home resort owner priority, pretty abysmal. You'd want to be on top of that at 11 months, most likely. And finally, the 2-bedroom lock-off with the standard view looks probably even worse than the 2-bedroom lock-off with the boardwalk view. Let's go into home resort owner priority. There's 1 night available in October, a couple nights in November, that's it. People love the boardwalk. Moving away from Walt Disney World, let's go over to Disney's Vero Beach Resort. For a deluxe in-room with a standard view, it's actually pretty available this time right around July 4th is not, but most of June, probably most of May, a lot of April, that's not bad at all. This is the deluxe studio, again, pretty available. Even this last full week of April here is available. For a deluxe in-room with an ocean view, you've got availability from July 19th onward. The first chunk of July is not so available. There definitely are some nights in June and May, but far more sporadic. Moving up in size onto the 1-bedroom villa, it is available right at 7 months, but it seems like that might be a little bit competitive. This early part of August, there are some days already fully booked, and most of July is already totally booked. Same with June, and to a lesser extent, May. Next is the 2-bedroom lock-off villa. You could book this right at 7 months, but again, it seems like this is a more popular room than some of the others we've looked at. Not a lot of availability before the 7-month mark. And for that dedicated 2-bedroom villa, same story essentially. Right at 7 months, you seem to be okay, at least for this early August timeframe. Before then, there are some nights, but it's not a ton. If you were going to couple a trip to Vero Beach, though, with Walt Disney World trip, you could make a nice split stay out of this still. And the only room that wasn't fully available at 7 months starting on August 8th is the 3-bedroom beach cottage. You can see the weeknights here are pretty popular as we've got the 4th and the 5th available. Those are the weekend nights as well as the 11th and 12th still, but even the 13th and 14th are taken. That's into home resort owner priority now. Almost all of July is already booked. All of June is booked. Almost all of May. So if you want this cottage, you probably do need a home resort contract or you need to be really on top of it. There's decent availability in the home resort owner priority window looking at the fall, but of course I would assume that summer is the more popular month to go to Vero Beach. Back over to Walt Disney World, next we've got Copper Creek Villas and Cabins. Here the warning text is all just Run Disney, nothing else going on there. There is full availability for the dates we requested at the Deluxe Studio, and even July 5th onward. I think a similar thing happened when we looked at the May 2023 availability. I am so used to thinking about Copper Creek as being 100% booked all the time, but it's starting to prove me wrong. You can see though, if we look in a home resort owner priority, there are a lot of dates that are already totally taken. Next we've got the 1-bedroom villa, and wow, all of July and all of June are totally bookable, basically from May 11th onward. There are these 4 nights in May that are taken, but really from April 15th, if you discount May 3rd, 4th, and 9th and 10th, then you have full availability of this 1-bedroom villa at Copper Creek. For the 2-bedroom lock-off, it is pretty dang available, of course not right around July 4th, but 6 months onward looks good. June is probably about half available, but no Saturday nights, and a couple days here and there in May and April. For the dedicated 2-bedroom villa, you are able to book any day you want in July, and then there's still okay availability in June, pretty decent in May, and really quite open in April overall. Then we've got those cabins. These tend to be more available, I think just because the sheer number of points they cost. And yeah, you can see all of June and all of July are available, most of May, most of April, still a good chunk of March. And there's 3 rooms that were not fully available, so the 3-bedroom Grand Villa was booked out right 7 months from now on August 8th, as well as the next day, August 9th. But if you were able to move your vacation time, you could book from July 28th straight through August 4th. And this middle July timeframe is also available. There are some dates available in June and May, and then there is this timeframe that's more than a full week in April, but you'd probably want to book this exactly 7 months out if you were able to. The Deluxe Studio with the walk-in shower, as opposed to the tub shower combo, which is just the Deluxe Studio we looked at earlier, is not fully available for the nights we requested. It is already fully booked for August 9th and 10th. But it is totally bookable from July 5th all the way through August 8th, so I would say that's still pretty great availability overall. Once you're planning only 5 months in advance or so, or even less than that though, it's a very different story. And we've got the 2-bedroom lock-off villa with a walk-in shower. Obviously this is a lock-off shared with this Deluxe Studio with the walk-in shower, so should be a similar story here. Pretty good July and early August, and not so good much before that. Sticking at Wilderness Lodge, we will move over to the Boulder Ridge Villas. Here again, you've got the Run Disney warning text. We also are seeing though that Boulder Ridge Villas is undergoing refurbishment. There are no dates associated with this. I would think this would be done by August, but I can't be totally sure. And here all of the room types are fully available. You've got the Deluxe Studio that's available from July 5th onward. Probably about half of June is available, and a good chunk of May, a few dates in April. Then for the 1-bedroom villa, all of July is available, all of June, all of May, not quite all of April. And then once you hit March, availability becomes very patchy. Then we've got the 2-bedroom lock-off villa, most of July, not this time around July 4th, probably about half of June, an okay portion of May. That's pretty available overall. And here we have the dedicated 2-bedroom villa. It is available for all of July and all of June, most of May. The back half of April is totally open. Overall, pretty good availability at Boulder Ridge. Next up, we've got the Polynesian Villas and Bungalows, so again, the Run Disney text. And then it looks like the water slide at the lava pool will be closed through February. That's not going to be a problem for August dates. All of these rooms are fully available. You've got the Standard View Deluxe Studio. July 5th onward looks good. Most of June is available, including quite a long stretch here between the 14th and the 24th. May is just a couple days, but the back half of April is quite open. For the Lakeview Deluxe Studio, again, July 5th onward, you are smooth sailing most of June. May is not so available though, and April is also not quite as available as that Standard View Deluxe Studio. And finally, the bungalows, like the cabins at Copper Creek, these tend to be quite available, I think just because the sheer points cost. So July 3rd and 4th are taken, but otherwise July is open, June is open, most of May is open, all of April, most of March. You can typically book a bungalow if you're planning more than about 2 months in advance. Next up, we have Disney's Beach Club Villas. You can see here from January through April, Disney's Beach Club is undergoing refurbishment, and then that same Skyliner warning text we got, but again, none of this should impact an August vacation. So the 1-bedroom villa is fully available for when we ask, and it is available from July 5th onward. I am pretty surprised. Beach Club is extremely popular and doesn't have the biggest inventory, so these rooms tend to go pretty fast. But if you have the points to book a 1-bedroom, there's great availability in July and August at the moment. In my opinion, there's honestly decent availability in June. It's not a ton, but again, for Beach Club, that's not bad. And then it starts to get much patchier earlier than that. And then the 2-bedroom villa is also available to book for the nights that we requested, but July is much less good than the 1-bedroom. And same with June and May, etc. All right, let's look at the rooms that weren't fully available. So the Deluxe Studio is booked exactly 7 months from today, as well as 7 months plus 1 day. And you can see that all of July is already booked, July through August 3rd. You could book August 4th and August 6th, but not August 5th. All of June is booked. All of May is booked, all of April's booked. This is what I'm used to when I think of Beach Club. I think it's extraordinary that the 1-bedroom was that available. Looking into home resort owner priority, if you have a home contract here, you don't necessarily have to jump on this 11 months in advance. You can see even American Thanksgiving is still available. But if you do definitely want to stay here, a home resort contract is really helpful. Then we've got the 2-bedroom lock-off villa. I'm guessing this will look similar to what we just looked at with the Deluxe Studio. Yep, it's just fully booked out. And similarly, looking at the home resort priority, you don't necessarily need to do it 11 months in advance exactly, but if you do have the home contract and are able to plan in advance, I would always suggest you do it. For example, if you look at early December, that's already pretty much booked out. Out to Disneyland Resort in California, this is now the villas at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel. I tend not to bother showing this because essentially if you don't have a home resort contract, you're welcome to go on the waitlist, but good luck. At present, this is the only DVC property at Disneyland, so it's incredibly popular. Here's the Deluxe Studio. You can see it's fully booked May, June, July. Obviously even sooner than that, March, April. It's just fully booked. If we move into home resort owner priority, there are some days available in September and October, but that's mostly booked. Probably about half of November is already booked, and then all of that early December timeframe is booked. For the 2-bedroom villa, there is 1 day available in June and 3 in April, but otherwise fully booked. If you look in a home resort owner priority though, this is not quite as jarring as the Deluxe Studio. There is still a lot of availability here if you do have that home resort contract. Then we've got the accessible 2-bedroom villa. Pretty much same story here. Super booked, 7 months in advance. But if you did have home resort priority, you can book it pretty easily. Here's the hearing accessible Deluxe Studio. Also just super booked out. And similarly, the home resort priority owners are already booking 11 months in advance. It's the Deluxe Studio that is wheelchair accessible. Booked, 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 booked. And moving into home resort owner priority, pretty dang booked. Hearing accessible 1-bedroom villa. Let's just assume everything's booked. Looking into the future, this one's not as hard to book as some of the other rooms if you do have home resort owner priority. Here's the wheelchair accessible 1-bedroom. There's 1 day available in May. And decent availability for those with the home resort contract. Hearing accessible 2-bedroom villa. 100% booked until home resort owner priority time, and even a lot of that's quite booked. 2-bedroom lock off with wheelchair accessibility. March, April, May, June, July, totally booked. August through when the 7-month mark is totally booked. And there's some availability if you have the home resort contract, but not a ton. Here's the accessible 3-bedroom grand villa. There is 1 night, July 30th, that is available to book. And April 9th is available to book. The home resort owner priority is not too bad, honestly. Better than some of the other rooms, but this early December timeframe is so popular. And then here's your standard 1-bedroom villa. Ooh, there's actually some nights here. You could stay July 7th, July 31st, June 27th, May 10th and 11th, back-to-back nights. I am impressed. These 2 nights in April, so this is not 100% booked. This feels rare to me. And then looking to home resort owner priority, this is not nearly as bad as some of the other rooms for sure. Oh, even early December is still available. Here's the 2-bedroom lock-off villa. Let's just see if there's any random single nights available. No. totally booked. And if you do have the home contract, I would get on top of that. Most of September and October is already gone. Most of this early December timeframe is already booked. And finally is the 3-bedroom grand villa. This might have a few random nights. Let's see. Nope. February onward, 100% booked until you get to home resort owner priority time. Once you're there, the back half of August is fine, but this fall time frame is really popular. Same with that early December time frame. And last we have Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort. No rooms are fully available for selected dates. That early to mid-August time frame I think is quite popular for beach trips. The Deluxe Studio is available for 4 of the nights though, just not exactly 7 months from now, so this might have been available this morning, right when booking opened up, I'm not too sure. But you can see July is mostly taken, June is mostly taken. May doesn't seem to want to load. Here is the 1-bedroom villa. Again, just exactly 7 months from now isn't going to work out, but the rest would be fine. Most of July is booked, most of June, most of May. If you want to go to a beach resort in the summer, you might need to be pretty on top of that. For the 2-bedroom villa, same deal, just exactly 7 months from now. Oh, you could go on these weekends in July in a 2-bedroom and also weekends in June in a 2-bedroom. So if you had the points and were willing to spend them, you could have a nice weekend getaway. Same with May. And finally, the 3-bedroom grand villa. Ooh, this is pretty taken actually. Not only 7 months from now on August 8th, but also August 9th, 10th, and 11th are already taken. Most of the Saturday nights in July are available, and a few in June, a few in May. But again, if you want a nice beach trip, you might want to be very on top of booking that. Thanks again so much for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment down below, and just generally engaging. I really appreciate your support. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to get you a useful answer. In the description down below will contain a bunch of links for other videos you might find useful if you're considering a Disney Vacation Club purchase. For example, there's other useful behind-the-scenes content, such as a live look-in at my 7-month booking process. I also take you on a tour of the online member portal, so you can see all the things available to you at DisneyVacationClub.com once you have that member login. I hope you find this all helpful, and may the rest of your day be magical. We'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.